Most people who are on the channel know who you are. They're big horror fans, but maybe they don't know about all 113 titles you've been involved in. Was there a camaraderie, friendship with like other stunt people? I hear stories about people like LeBell, and I used to watch The Fall Guy when I was a kid. Is it like that, or is it more work a day, just another job?
Oh, no, I'll call it the working stunt community is actually, at least when I was working, was very small. So we would see each other on a fairly regular basis, and in between shots, we would be together, and we would just, again, how do I describe it? It's a job. You're there working. I mean, it's stunt work. It is a movie, but these are your fellow workers, or these are your contemporaries. So I actually was working on Melrose Place with LeBell. And this young stuntman did not know about this sleeper move that LeBell does. I'm not sure if it. Do you know about the sleeper move?
I'm aware of his, because he was very trained in martial arts, wasn't he? He was a very high level martial artist, judo and everything.
Yeah, judo, wrestling. He had it all. Anyways, the sleeper move is exactly what the words are, is that he was able to choke out a person and knock them out. And this young stuntman did not believe that Gene could knock him out. You know, he figured, oh, I'm a young, tough kid, and, you know, Gene LeBell, he's not going to knock me out.
Guy?
So I got to witness this firsthand. I mean, he put his arm around this kid's neck, and the kid was out. I mean, he just, I mean, Gene wouldn't let him hit the ground, but, you know, Gene had to lower him to the ground and wake him back up. I mean, I don't know whether to say it was fascinating or if it was frightening or amazing. But believe me, that sleeper move really works.
Yeah.
And Gene was the king of it.
Yeah, that's because I was just wondering how much of the things that happen like that were down to ego. You know, people's ego related to how good they were at their job. Like testing each other, maybe?
I think the majority of the stunt community, when I was working, you had some people that had egos, but most of us, we were professional athletes doing the job we were hired to do.
Yeah. What are the challenges of it? Obviously, there's physical challenges, so I imagine injury is something that you have to deal with quite a lot.
See, now that's an interesting thing that you would say is, no, you do not take a job that you can't handle. I mean, I've been called up to do motorcycle stunts. You know, we need you to lay this bike down and slide underneath a truck. And I would say, thank you very much. Here's the name of a stunt woman that handles motorcycles.
Right.
But
Got you.
I appreciate the call, but I can't do it.
Yeah. Knowing your own skill set.
Right. You do not take a stunt that you cannot do. But as you said, I never had an injury where they had to take me off the set in an ambulance to a hospital or anything like that. I mean, you get bumps and bruises and things like that, but No, I've never broken a bone on the set, never had, what I'll call it, an open wound injury or anything like that.
Well, that's good. That's good. And I guess that a lot of that, you have that great relationship either as the coordinator or with the coordinator, to make sure that it stays safe.
Again, it's a very interesting career. Dennis Madelone, Tony Caesar, those are independent stuntmen. They don't belong to a group, and I would trust what they would want, or we could talk about the stunts, and that was it, and the stunts were done safely. But I also worked a job where I was Motel Hell. I was supposed to be drowning this girl, and the pond we were in was ice cold, and I happened to have a wetsuit on. She did not have a wetsuit on, and she was having hypothermia. I mean, I ducked her under the water. We came up, and she goes, I can't breathe. And I said, okay, let's struggle on top of the water for a while. And then I said, are you okay? Can I dunk you again? She says, okay. And I, dunked her under, and she came up. And again, it's, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. And I waved to the camera crew that we need a boat out here. You need to take her out of the water. I mean, wow. Things were getting bad with her.
Yeah. Wow.
So they brought a boat out and took her to shore. And I'm sitting on the shore thinking, what a great thing I did. I mean, I was concerned about the safety of this stunt woman. I mean, I could have kept drowning her, even though I knew she was having problems. The stunt coordinator comes up to me and he's yelling at me. How dare you stop the cameras? How dare you stop the shot? She signed a contract. If you should have killed her, to get the shot. So there are good coordinators and there are bad coordinators.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh my word. Well, like you say, you did the right thing in that situation and had the foresight to do so. Yeah. Wow. That is an incredible story. I've seen that film a few times. I'll watch it in a different way next time I see it. Wow.
Yeah, well, obviously, you see us in the lake, the pond, whatever it was, but you obviously don't see the stunt doubles struggling.
No. So keeping on that theme of stunt work and maybe more towards doubling, I'm really interested in how you have to match body language and the way you move related to the person you're doubling. So, for example, you mentioned Laurie Metcalf in Scream 2. I know you doubled for Doris Roberts in Remington Steele. Do you have to change the way you walk and move, and
yes,
or is it to do dress?
Yes, absolutely. I feel like I have a couple examples. Is that Doris Roberts was obviously a lot older than I was, and there was a scene where she had to sneak into one story, but sneak into a window. And originally, the director wanted me to just, put my legs up first and go into the window that way. And I said, Doris Roberts or Mildred would not be able to do that. A woman that age would not be able to do that. And they go, well, how would she go into the window? And I said, head first. She would, like I say, she would go in head first and slide on through. Now the funniest thing is, and they didn't have the cameras rolling when this happened. He says, show me what you're talking about. And I start going through the window, and as I'm sliding in, my legs came up and kicked the window, and it shut on my legs, and I got stuck because the window was on my legs. Well,
Oh,
they
no.
thought that was such a Mildred move. They loved that so much that they wanted it for camera. So they had me do it again with the cameras rolling, and this time there was someone inside the room that as I got halfway through the window, he pushed the window down on my legs.
Wow.
But
Wow.
um, I used to double Wendy Jo Sperber. She's been gone for a long time now, breast cancer. Uh, but I doubled her in I Want to Hold Your Hand, um, the television show Private Benjamin, the movie 1941. Uh, yes, you watch their mannerisms and you move like they move. And in fact, they had to do a pickup shot after, I guess you would say that her contract had ended. They had this pickup shot that they had to do, and it was cheaper to hire me to be, in this case, more of a photo double. They still paid me as a stunt woman, but
Mhm.
I was basically being her photo double.
Right.
And the camera was high up on the cliff looking down at the house, and the car comes up and she gets out of the car and she kind of dances around. And that was the scene that they were missing, or that was the scene that they needed to fill in uh, that sequence. And uh, people on the set that day even said, that was amazing. I couldn't tell any difference of you to Wendy Jo Sperber.
Wow.
So that's a major compliment. But
It is.
that's what a stunt person has to do. You have to become not only the other character, you have to become the other actor as well.
Mm. That's interesting because the ages of the characters you just mentioned themselves can be very wide ranging. That you're doubling, they can be older than you, they can be younger than you.
Favorite scenes, like I say, it was so wonderful doubling because the fights I was doing were fights that women didn't do back then. There's the fight between Tom Morga as a Klingon and myself, and I mean, we're punching each other. He's flipping me to the floor. I mean, it just. Uh, I'm very proud to be. I'll say one of the first stunt women that could fight like a man.
That's amazing. That's like, somebody like, say, the sort of the stunt performers of today have got you to thank for blazing that trail.
In fact, on Love Boat, the stunt coordinator needed a woman to double Tova Feldshun falling off the Love Boat. And he had called up a bunch of stunt women, and they all turned him down. And he calls up me, and he says to me, Leslie, if you don't take this stunt, I'm going to have to put a man in a wig to do the stunt. And I took the stunt because I felt that I could dive into the water or fall into the water. Kind of funny though is we get to the cruise ship. It actually wasn't the Pacific Princess. It was one of the sister ships of the Princess line. But, I look over the edge and I go, "How many feet is this?" Because he said it was gonna be a 40-foot fall. And he goes,
Right.
"Oh, it's 40 feet." Uh, After I did the fall, the next day he calls me up and he said, "We measured it. It was 78 feet fall to water."
Oh my word.
78-foot fall. I mean,
I'm scared of heights, so
well, and what was really dangerous about the Love Boat stunt was there was a stuntman that was supposed to jump in, to save me. So, the way they filmed it was I went off the edge of the boat first, but he immediately followed me, so
Oh,
we would be in, the camera together, the screen together, you know, he really couldn't wait, let's say, 10 seconds and jump because, you're falling 32 feet per second. I mean, I would have been in the water by the time he was leaving the boat if we were talking about 10 seconds. So
wow.
basically, like I say, is I left the boat and he jumped in right after me. Well, we landed about 3 feet apart from each other. Had he landed on top of me, he probably would have killed me. And also, hitting the water wrong is like hitting cement, so it was an extremely dangerous stunt.
Wow, you do not think I did not think that we'd be discussing how dangerous the Love Boat.
Yeah, right, right,
Exciting and new, you know.
right.
Very, very exciting.
Well, something you said earlier is that, you could be hired to do a stair fall, but depending on what the storyline was, the stair fall could be dramatic because the person got pushed, shot, killed, whatever.
Wow.
Um, in fact, I did do a stair fall on Deep Space Nine. That was dramatic. But then you also have funny stair falls.
Right. Yeah.
So you could be doing the exact same stunt, and either it's very dramatic or very funny.
That's interesting because you mentioned earlier on Buster Keaton and Harold Lloyd and people like that. You have to be able to adapt your body to tell a story with your body, and that feels like those things tie together with what you've just said about that fall down the stairs.
Right, exactly. Well, and that stunt people, um, yes, sometimes we are hired as actors and stunt people because, again, it's cheaper to hire the stunt person to say the line than to hire an actress and have a stunt woman double the actress. So they just hire the one person. Um, but back to silent film. Yes, those stunt people are more like Charlie Chaplin, Buster Keaton. We have to tell a story without words.
Yeah. Wow. That's incredible. I was just thinking, it's been an absolute delight speaking to you and hearing about these stories. I can't get the idea of you and Tom Morga punching it out. Especially I keep seeing him as Michael Myers. So like you're willing to take on those big guys, and it's been so interesting hearing these stories. Thank you so much for your
Oh,
time.
well, thank you. It was wonderful talking with you, Matt. I mean, I could go on for hours, and you've asked some wonderful
Oh,
questions
thank you.
that I hope the audience will enjoy,
I'm sure.
my answers and the stories that go with it. If it wasn't for the fans loving the films I was in, then I wouldn't be here today. So it's the fans are the number one people to me.